Okay, so new program here, and we're still going to be working with parallel arrays, but I want to throw in a new control, which is the ListBox. And I'll talk about why I'm introducing that here in just a moment. But the theme here is going to be Girl Scout cookies. You can see I have the pictures of the cookies in the debug folder, and I've already set the background image to the Girl Scout logo. So I want to put a list box onto this form here, and we are going to list the various types of cookies and allow the user to select cookies from the list box and then maybe display more details at the bottom. So maybe I'll call this LST cookies, okay? And there are a couple of ways to populate a list box. One way is at design time through the properties. So notice my list box is selected. I can go through the, I believe it's the items collection. Yes, here it is. Okay, the items collection. I'm going to click on this ellipsis button here, and I can just start adding cookies. Like, for example, there's a caramel chocolate chip. Okay, and then we have the do-si-do variety, which is like a peanut butter sandwich. You get the idea here. And I can just, you know, go down the list as needed. So that's populating the list box at design time, but we can also do it at runtime. So I think I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to write the code so you don't have to sit here and watch me type, and then I'll show you how to do it at runtime. Okay, so I'm back. I just wrote the code to populate the rest of the cookies at runtime. So these two I already populated at design time through the properties window, but let me show you. I'm going to double click the form to get to the form load. And the rest of the cookies I am populating or adding to the items collection at runtime when the form loads. I had mentioned in an earlier video that the form load is a great place to take care of housekeeping type of stuff. For example, populating arrays, populating a list box. So if you see the syntax here, it's just the name of the list box, the items collection, and then the add method of that collection. And then you just add the string that you want to add. So these are the rest of the cookies. I'll go ahead and run that. We'll make sure that we can see all of the cookies in the list box. Okay, so you can see our list box is fully populated. And I think for the functionality of this, why don't we allow the user to make a selection from the list box, and then when the user lands on an item in the list box, we'll put more details down here, maybe a picture of the cookies, the price, and I guess just the picture and the price is fine. I don't have a lot more data on these cookies, but I will mention that you know, I don't know a lot about this organization, but I believe we'll just go with, like, I think most of them are just $5 a box, and then these bottom two are considered more of a specialty type of cookie. The s'mores and the toffee tastic, those will be $6 a box. So we'll have a little bit of price differentiation, but not a lot. So, but we definitely have the pictures, and you saw that. So before we turn to the other data, I'll do that in another video, but I want to show you a couple more interesting properties of the list box that we are going to be using, okay? I think, I'm going to double click the list box here. And if you notice, the default event associated with the list box is selected index changed. Every time your user clicks on the list box and changes a selection, or even clicks on the same selection, this event is going to fire. And I want to talk about the selected index. And the reason I like to talk about list boxes when I'm talking about arrays is list boxes, in my opinion, are like arrays that you can see. It's a list of things, right? It's a list of strings all stored together, Okay, and what you don't see, however, is that these entries are indexed behind the scenes, and it is a zero-based indexing system. So the caramel chocolate chip has an index of 0 behind the scenes, do-si-do, index of 1, lemonades, index of 2, and so on. So it's like an array of strings that you can see on the form. So let's keep that in mind. So let's go back to that event here. And you know what I want to do? I don't know if I've done this in a video yet, but let's throw in a little message box. This is not for the user's sake, but it's for our sake, just to get, I like to throw in a message box to like display a quick little value when I'm trying to, you know, troubleshoot an application or something. So I'm going to say messagebox.show. And I'm going to I want to say lstcookies.selectedIndex. Let's see if that, I might have to slap a 2 string on that. Yeah, I think so. Okay, yeah. So when the users, myself in this case, selects one of the cookies, we're asking this message box to display the selected index of the currently selected item. So let's go ahead and run that. I'll show you the result. Okay, so I'm going to select that first one. It has an index of 0. Okay, let me select the third one. It has an index of 3, right? Zero-based numbering system, 0, 1, 2, the Samoas are 3. Okay, Toffee-tastic, 8. So apparently I have 9 types of cookies in this list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 9. Okay, so that is the selected index property. Very important property. It tells you which item in the list is selected by its index, you know what, I want to run this again. Oh, no, you know what, we'll have to, I'll have to, let me see if I can, oh, okay, yeah, it did work. I clicked over here. I did not click an actual item. Okay. Interestingly, the selected index is -1. So when you do not have an item selected, the currently selected index is -1, which means nothing is selected. So that's good to know as well. Let's try to keep that in the back of our minds. Okay, so that's the selected index property, which I definitely want you to know about, but there's another one that I think you will find useful, and then we'll move on to the arrays in the next video. There's the selected item property. So let's look at how this one behaves. Okay, so I'm going to click that first one. Selected item gives you the actual text that is selected. Okay, so any one of those, I'll select it, and you can see the actual text. So both useful in their own way. Probably the one we'll use more is selected index, especially since we're going to be treating this, this list box like an array. But they're both important, and I want you to try to remember that these are both available to you. And definitely the selected index will give you the index, but the selected item is useful too. So with that in mind, we'll move on to the next video, and we'll add some more data in the form of some parallel arrays.